Hey guys, welcome back to AnbuZ HobbieZ. By the end of this video, we'll be creating a backend application which verifies the username and password and verifies the TOTP and allows the user to register, right? So let me put my username credentials. So .com login. So it will ask you for the TOTP. Six. Oh, it's changed 343002. So by the end of this video, you'll be creating this. Come, let's jump into the video. So as a first step, we're going to implement the endpoints. So if you have missed my previous video where I have explained the project overview and how the each endpoint workflow will go through, right? And here it is. And let me go to the presenter view so that it'll be much easier. Yep, here we go. So now we are calling user service register user and we are passing the user object to it. So we need to provide the implementation. So if you look at the implementation here, so we are just finding the user by the username. If there is an already user which is already present in the database, then we are returning the exception. If not, then we are encoding the password with the bcrypt password encoder. And along with that, we also have to generate a secret key which will be used to generate the OTP, TOTP, right? So let me go to this generate secret key implementation. So there is nothing exists for now. For this, we need a object of secret key generator. Let me create secret generator and let me add it to the constructor. And secret key generate secret generator dot generate. So this will generate a 32 byte secret key. So if you want, you can override the secret key generator. So what I have done is I have created a MFA config. So here if you look at, there is a secret default secret generator. So this is by default this is defaulted to 32 bytes. So if you want to update this, you can pass the number of characters you want, and that will generate probably a 64 byte. You can generate one secret, right? So let me go back to our implementation of MFA config. So this is being used and we also created a bean of QR code generators. We are using the Zinc PNG QR code generator. So this will be utilized by our next in our user saves IMPL. So we got the secret key and we also save the user, and this is what as per our workflow. And now we have to generate the QR code. So to generate the QR code, I'm going to call the QR code method. So this will give you the image of the QR code as a string, right? And that will be returned back to the user. So to generate the QR code, let me go here and go to the implementation. Let me minimize this. So there is nothing returned for now. So what I'll do is let me create a QR data, and this QR data will hold the algorithm and number of digits and the period and everything. So let me generate that. QR data dot builder dot label. So this is going to be the application label. So let me put it as MFA server. Let me put it as to FA server, right? This makes sense. And let me put the issuer name. The issuer name is going to be YouTube two-factor authentication demo. And let me put the secret here. The secret will be passed to this method. So let me put the secret, and I'll add the number of digits. I'm gonna pass 6 digits, and also we need the dot period. So I'm gonna put this as 30. So every 30 minutes we're gonna generate password, and we're gonna use algorithm. So this algorithm is going to be so you can use any algorithm. By default it is SHA1. So let me use SHA152. I'll tell you how to configure this when we are verifying this. Dot build. So this will give you all the information for the QR code. The QR code should have all this information, right? And let me import. So we need one more object to generate the QR code. So that will be the QR generator. Let me declare that private final QR generator. So let me add this to the constructor and go here. So we're going to return there's util methods provided by the dependency, the Sam Stevens TOTP dependency. So it's going to be generate data URI for image. This will get the QR code data and what is the type it has to return the QR code in, right? So let me pass in the QR code data using QR generator dot generate QR code. Let me send the QR data and then QR generator dot get MIME type. So this will be in image MIME type. So you will get the complete image as a string, right? It will be passed back to you. So we'll implement the verify OTP when we are verifying this. So for now, the register. Let me go back to the register and thing here, the service layer register user. So we have checked the user, it does not exist, and then we are encoding the password, and we also generated the secret and we stored it, and then with the secret key we have generated the QR code, right? And along with that also added that into our response, and we sent it back to uh, the user. Let me go ahead and see how it works in the UI. Let me show the UI. Here it is. Let me go to register. Let me add this and then select MFA. Click on register. Because we have not started the server, let me go back here and start the server. Right click, run. I have started the application. Let me also open the Mongo console to show you the uh, registered user, how it's getting stored. So this is our server and there is no data for now. Let me go back here, click on register. Yeah, there we go. So now it has registered the user and it created the QR code for us, and this is the secret that you can enter directly into the authenticator app to get your your one-time password get generated, right? And you can validate by using this text box over here, but we didn't implement the verify OTP for now. But for now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and register this into the authenticator app. So now I have registered this using the QR code in my authenticator app. Let me go back to application, and now we will implement the verify OTP method so that we can validate it. So go to the controller. So where here I'm going to call the, so this is the verify TOTP method where we will be receiving the username and the TOTP as in the request. So in this what we are doing, let me go inside this implementation. So in this implementation we are getting the user object from the DB, from the MongoDB. I didn't show you the data, right? So let me go here. So once we refresh, you can see here there is a secret key generated. So we are going to fetch this user the key, and if you look at the password, which is already hashed, you will not be retrieved back. So we just have to hash it and then compare it when the user is logging in. And now we have to implement the verify TOTP method. Let me go ahead and do TOTP, and here to the implementation we need to return a boolean whether the secret is valid or not. For this we need a code verifier object that needs to be configured. So for that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a bean here which will generate which will create a bean of code verifier, bean public code verifier. Let me call it as my code verifier. And here we need two objects. One is the time, because the TOTP will be verified with respect to the time, right? So whenever the TOTP is entered, we will use the time to validate the OTP to generate the bucket. And like with respect to the time bucket, what all the OTP are possibly generated, right? So let me create the time provider. Let me say this time provider equals a new. I'll use the system time provider for now, right? And then we need a code generator. Code let me scroll this up for you. Generator. Let me say this as code generator, and this is going to be a default code generator with, so we need to pass in the parameters to it, what is the algorithm it has to use, and how, what is the digits it has to generate, right? So it is going to be algorithm SHU-152, and we are going to generate 6 digits, right? That's what we need to provide. And now we have to create the verifier object. Here, let me create a verifier object. The verifier will be like this: default code verifier equals new default code verifier. We need to pass in the code generator and the time provider. So code generator comma time provider. So with this, we'll be creating the code verifier. So along with this, we also need to provide the period that it has to generate the OTP for, because we have configured 30 seconds. So let me configure that as well. Code verifier dot time period. Let me send 30. And if you want to, let's say the user is entering a OTP which is expired, but that is expired just now, and then the next OTP got generated, right, in from his end. So if you want to allow any previous code that can be validated, you can set allowed period discrepancy. You can allow, I think by default this is 1. You can set it to, so that any previous code can also be allowed to log in, right? Let me return this object, code verifier. So this object will be used inside our verify TOTP method. Let me go back to the service. Here I'm going to import that private final code verifier. My code verifier, right? And let me add it to the constructor, and this is going to return us my code verifier dot is valid, and the secret is the first one, and the code, right? So with this, it is going to validate and send us whether the OTP is valid or not, right? And we are going to return back user with the response. Let me go to the controller. So if this is valid, right, so we need to respond back with response object. So here in this case, I'm planning to return the MFA verification response object. So let me minimize this. So let me create a MFA verification response, MFA verification response. dot. Okay, let me go here. Let me put this as builder so that it'll be easy for me. Dot builder. So it's a local variable, and this is going to be MFA verification response, and this response will be returned back to the user. Okay, and this is when we don't have user OTP. You know, when the OTP is invalid, right? So if the OTP is valid, so then we will update this response. Let me out. I'll say response. Dot build. So this is going to give us a proper response back to the user, right? And now let me restart this application. The application is started. Let me go back to the UI where we are in the registration successful page. We can enter the OTP to validate. So I have the OTP generated in my authenticator. Let me enter that 515. Let me check this. See, to me, to the login page, because that's where I redirect after the successful registration, right? So let me log in here. So we need to implement the login page to further verify the TOTP. Let me go back to the. So to implement the login page, we need to compare the username and password, right? So what I'll do is I will auto-wire private final. You can either auto-void the password encoder and then compare it here, and you can also do the comparison with by using the authentication provider that we have created, the custom authentication provider. So that's up to you. I'm just going with authentication provider that I created. Authentication provider, and this is going to be added to the constructor again. And let me go here to the login page, login endpoint. So we are going to get the username and password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it with the try catch block, and this is a catch. Let me say for now the exception. Okay, so here I'm going to say authentication equals authentication provider dot authenticate, and this is going to be new username password authentication token. Let me get the login request. Let me minimize this one to completely view. Login request dot get username, comma login request dot get password. So this will give you the authenticated object back to you. So what we can do is if because we are going stateless, even if you are not setting this into the security context, that is perfectly fine. So you can also do something like get the user object, get the user, and compare the password. So this is also perfectly fine because we are going to use JWT as a token. So we'll be creating a filter in the security configuration where it will be validated for each request whether that JWT exists, then it will be valid user, valid authenticated user, right? So that's how it goes. And further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the user object, user equals authentication dot get principal. So it is going to give us the user back. So let me convert this into user, right? And further we're going to respond back. Okay, so we'll just copy this. So but in this case what we're going to set is we're going to set the MFA verification required as true, so token valid will be false always here, and dot MFA required is gonna be true. So this is an indication that the user has to be validating their second factor to get their access, right? And let me say message user authenticated using username and password, and we'll be setting the we'll not be setting the JW token here because it will be set inside after verifying their TOTP. And this is the first response we are sending back, and the second one will be inside the catch, where if the user is not valid, if there is an exception, then we will be catching that here, and we'll be adding that to the response. So we'll be sending back invalid credentials, please try again. So this is going to say false, the token valid false, and we also say we also have one more auth valid, so we need to set this boolean dot true, because this is the boolean that we are using inside our UI, that whether the user is authenticated or not. So this is going to give that information, and same we are going to set here auth valid, but in this case it's going to be false, right? So here all done. So nothing is valid here, everything is done, and then it will be returned back to the this return statement is not required because we are just doing this. And let me save this and restart the application. Let me go to the console, restart the application. Let me enter my username and password. Something's wrong. There we go. So it allowed me to enter the OTP. Let me check my OTP here and enter it here, 1972460. There we go. So it validated and allowed me inside the application. So let me log out and show you entering a wrong OTP. So let me enter some random value. See, it is not valid, right? So until I enter the correct password from my authenticator app, it's not going to allow me. It's not going to allow me in. So 640386. Submit. There you go. So this is how the TOTP works. I can also explain the Angular application, but it will take a long time. So if you guys need a separate video on how I created the Angular project and how it is working, you can just put it in the comments so that I can create one more video for you guys. Hope this video is helpful. So we'll be creating one more video on sending in verification email back to your email address what with what you have registered with, and we'll be verifying the email address in the next video, right? Until then, thank you for watching the video. If you really like the video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.